All right, so yeah, brief overview on what Maxar is doing with STAC, and hopefully these slides cooperate here. So about a year ago, I was moved to a different team, and we were tasked with kind of centralizing all of our inventory at Maxar. So we've got all these disparate catalogs of, say, mosaics, our source collections, we've got DEMs that we use to make products, our GCP image chips, and all these different things that different groups are kind of managing, right? Not managed by a single group. And so when we started looking at like how best to kind of create this centralized inventory system, I started hearing a lot about STAC in the community, and it's like, wow, well, this sounds pretty good. So let's see if we can get to the next slide here. Okay. So yeah, some of the things that we kept running into are that catalogs are mostly disparate, right? Everyone's doing kind of their own thing. They're moving data around. They're normalizing it to their needs. So yeah, schemas and metadata differ for like items. Interfaces are not consistent or interoperable with COTS, right? A lot of people are just doing their own APIs that then you've got to write clients for to plug into your desktop GIS or your Leaflet or Open Layers apps. Our offered platforms that we put out to the market are forced to like kind of normalize the data for their own use, and they're going through their complex ingest chains. And then when we get third-party data deliveries, those are really hard to ingest, and that process is super messy. And all this leads to a lot of nasty kind of ETL workflows, right? That we'd like to avoid, and I think a lot of development's kind of wasted on that. So, sorry, this is kind of small, but we've adopted the whole static to dynamic catalog move, and a lot of this is straight out of the static to dynamic catalog best practices that's laid out in the STAC spec. So the way we thought about it at Maxar is that we've got these data providers. We've got, you know, the factory producing or ingesting kind of our raw imagery. We've got folks creating mosaics, and folks curating and managing DEMs, like I was saying before. And so they can kind of create and manage their own static catalog, and they can centralize them all in this inventory location that we've kind of like given to them. The only stipulation is that they create valid stacked items and stacked collections and stacked catalogs. And then we hope to eventually give them lots of tools for kind of, and some of these tools are open source tools, right? Like Stack Browser for crawling that data, or administrative tools for configuring certain things, maybe creating new buckets, doing authorization level stuff, and then ideally eventually some desktop GIS plugins or web apps that allows them to more easily interface with that data. And then what we're doing now is having them tag each stack item as an item, and that will trigger an SD event, which lands it on a queue that we then handle via some lambdas to load it to the dynamic catalog, always ensuring that it's a valid stack item, and then search and discovery can happen on those, and then subsequent access would go back to the static catalog. So yeah, pretty standard workflow. We're using Postgres Aurora here with a JSON-B field. It's a real flexible schema. We're just putting the item right into that JSON-B column, and everything is in one table. So we really like the idea that via a single API, you can search and discover on different content types simultaneously. So someone may be able to see, oh, I've got a WorldView3 image here, and I've got this DEM of a certain resolution, and I can make a pretty good ortho with those two things. And I think, yeah, so the Stack API works really well for that. And yeah, we're just getting going, but we hope to have a catalog API out there for external use sometime next year. Of course, this whole inventory system is probably mostly tailored towards our internal users at Maxar. But yeah, it's great to see the momentum with Stack, and excited about what the future holds here. Thanks.